It all, the COVID cover-up, the lies. But will anything change? Let's talk about it. Here we go. And obviously by change, I mean, will anyone go to prison? No. In fact, they're doing this the day after the statute of limitations on Dr. Anthony Fauci, Asanto Fauci, ran out. So the whole thing was kind of just a show. But I don't want to take away the importance of it, because it's important. I'll tell you why. I got a message today from a friend of mine. She and her husband are in France. And they're like, what's up with this hantavirus? Should I be worried about it? I'm like, I don't know. I don't freaking know. I don't know. I told you about the bacterium in the eastern seaboard, which, yes, as somebody pointed out in one of our comments, and I read all the comments, I want you to know, I'm going to get better at responding to them. But if you send me a comment, you comment on YouTube or you comment on one of our podcast platforms, whatever it is, I will read it. I promise you. I give you my word. And I'm going to at least like it. But I get distracted by the kids. I'm the dog and the puppy and the heart surgery and all that. I'm not trying to make excuses, but all those things are excuses. So I've just made a bunch of excuses. But that is my solemn vow to you. I will always read your comments. And somebody commented, you shouldn't eat oysters in a month that doesn't end in R anyway. True. Very true. Like eating oysters in July, not a good idea because, you know what I mean? So fair. But my point is, we could have another pandemic at any moment now. You know, if you're a conspiracy theorist, as they say, you might want to believe that China is still working on biological weapons. So then I guess I'm a conspiracy theorist because I believe China is still working on biological weapons. And also, we don't know what the hell is at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, or the WIV, as I call it, as the kids call it today, the WIV. And we don't know what we don't know, meaning that we don't know what other crap we paid for. And that's the problem, is that we can't get the truth. We can't get answers. That's why Rand Paul, Josh Hawley, the other senators today had this committee hearing to try to get answers. But I got to be honest with you, the CIA still doing what CIA does, stonewalling. Still stonewalling. They still are playing games, which is annoying considering that's supposed to be our guy. Ratcliffe's supposed to be our guy. They're still playing games. Why? Why? What are we so afraid? And I know what it comes down to. It comes down to money and bureaucrats circling the wagons to protect bureaucrats. That's what they always do. The bureaucracy will always protect itself. Always, always, all the time. It's what bureaucracies have done through the history of bureaucracies. That's why the answer is less bureaucracy. That's the answer. But all that said, I mean, could there be another pandemic tomorrow? Absolutely. Who friggin' knows? I mean, that's the thing. They go, hantavirus. I got nothing to worry about. Well, they told us we had nothing to worry about with COVID. I am not going to be changing my life's plans, but at the same time, I'm not dumb. I know that China has, and other countries too, they're working on biological weapons. And we know that COVID did not come from a bat burger. We know this. So we have to get to the bottom of what really happened. Are we going to get to the bottom of what really happened? Probably not. Probably not. Because the reality is, and you know this, and I know this, gain of function is big, big cash to people with lots of lobbyists. Let me explain why. All right. Goes like this. I'll try to do this in a Jersey Italian way. All right. Goes like this. So I'm going to pay you to make a virus. Yeah? All right. And then you're going to pay me to make the cure for the virus. I mean, it's not a cure, but the treatment for it, right? We go, yeah. All right. And then what you're going to do is I'm going to pay you for all this other stuff that you need to deal with the virus in case the virus gets out. And then you're going to pay me to make sure that people have what they need in case this virus ever gets out. So it's this weird exchange of hands and viruses and monies, but ultimately the two people that I'm talking about are both the same entity, the pharmaceutical company. It's like the prevention of virus division and then the virus creation division. It's like a Law and Order SVU episode, different divisions. So if I'm in big pharma, I'm in the creation of viruses to make sure that we can fight the virus that we're creating division. And then I'm in the division that fights the virus that the other division is creating so that in case that virus is ever created, we know how to fight it. But then but why are you creating the virus in the first place? Then I wouldn't have to worry about fighting it. Well, yeah, but what if that virus ever comes along? It won't come along. You're creating it. Just don't create it. Don't create Frankenstein's monster. You can't tell me we're creating Frankenstein's monster to figure out a way to fight Frankenstein's monster if somehow Frankenstein's monster gets loose and goes about and destroys the village, if you don't create Frankenstein's monster in the first place. But that's the lesson from gain-of-function research we have yet to learn. So we go, all right, I'm going to create this virus in case this virus ever comes along. And then the virus comes along and you go, oh, luckily, we have a whole division that was prepared for this and has a vaccine for that very virus, just on the off chance that it somehow got out. And these companies and these countries that want biological weapons, what they do, like what China did with COVID, is they bring in the military and then they weaponize it. So what starts out is maybe like a helpful little sojourn into nature to see what bad viruses could be lurking out there if we just create them in a lab, turns into a biological weapon. So how about you just don't create the freaking virus in the first place? I mean, but then money. You get money from grant research to look into viruses, novel viruses, create the vaccines for the virus, create the PPEs you need for the virus, because who knows if this virus will work with that PPE, personal protection equipment. Who knows if that virus will be able to be, so we got to do test runs and we got to do all the other things and then there's a lot of cash involved. We're talking billions of dollars here. We're talking billions of dollars. That's why the gain-of-function gravy train is never coming to an end. It is coming to a town near you, however. I mean, unlike Gavin Newsom's high-speed train, this gravy train is very, very real, and it's moving at a very fast speed. And even though they keep telling us gain-of-function research is gone, it's over, it's going away, it's not. It's still here. They tell us it's going to go away, but it's not going away. And then even if we're not paying for it, which we are, other countries around the world are doing it. We are playing with nature here. We are playing Dr. Frankenstein. That's what we're doing. And it's really, really freaking scary and stupid. So what did we learn today? Well, no Democrats showed up. Democrats don't care. Like, Democrats have no interest in figuring out how this happened, why this happened, who they want to hold accountable, which is bizarre because, I mean, technically speaking, all this began under the Trump administration. So you would at least think some Senate Democrats would show up to the hearing today so that they could try to blame Trump for all of this. Nope. They're not that creative. See, if I were them, I would have been like, all right, I'm coming and I'm going to find a way to blame Trump for all of this, since technically COVID started in 2019 when he was president. I mean, it hit America in 2020. That we think it did. I mean, I think it was here in 2019, but I can't definitively prove that. I think we all deep down know that. I mean, like, tell me you didn't know somebody who got really sick in the fall of 2019, right? But regardless, you would think at least one creative Senate Democrat would show up and try to blame Donald Trump for everything. Nope, didn't do that. Here's Bill Malugin reporting.
Republicans on the committee point this out this morning. There are no Senate Democrats inside of that hearing room right now. There are several Democrats on that committee who should be sitting in there, but they are not there. You heard the witness mention that. Senator Ruben Gallego, Democrat from Arizona, actually walked by us about 15 minutes ago. He saw the media cameras here, and we couldn't tell if he was joking or trolling or not, but he said, hey, what's going on here? And his staffer said, wow, I don't know, and they walked past us. So he's on that committee. He's not in the room, but we couldn't tell if he was just joking or not.
Look, I asked the team to go ahead and find this picture because just a few minutes ago, just shy of the top of the hour, you could see over the left shoulder of Senator Ron Johnson the empty seats of Democrats, and we can show. I mean, look at that room. And even James Erdman, who is the whistleblower witness today, was asked about, and I believe it was Senator.
I'll tell you the truth. You know what it is? Here's what it is. Bill Malugin has no freaking sense of humor, all right? I don't want to brag or anything, but I've been on set with the guy on Fox News a few times. I might have mentioned that. I've been on Fox News a couple times here and there. If I mentioned that, maybe.
No, I mean, not today.
Right. Sorry, we just started. You got to give a guy a chance, man. Your standards are very high. You know that? Give me
I saw Bill Melugin on Fox. He was talking to Rand. Is Bill that tall or is Rand that short? Looked like he was interviewing a kindergartner. Is Bill Melugin like 9 feet tall?
Bill Melugин's 9 feet tall, but Rand Paul's toupee that day was actually only 7 inches.
So what I'll say, Rand Paul, if he loves to joke about his hair, and what he says is, if I had a toupee and I paid money for this, do you don't think I would have gotten my money back? This has to be my real hair because no one would pay money for this. That's a great bit.
I get accused of wearing a toupee as well, and I just want to say I went to Morty's Wigs, and I can jump into a pool.
It went great for him. Turned out great.
I wish this was a toupee. That'd be great. You kidding me? I don't have to get my friggin' haircut. Listen to Jackie, who goes to Disney World as an adult, and then I got to explain to her why I make fun of adult Disney people.
It's a real fun
she
conversation.
Got scissors by my brain. I wish this was a toupee, but it's not. Look at this.
I really enjoy you complaining about your hair. This is a fun talk for me.
By the way, Chris Eppolito made a great point yesterday in the YouTube comments, and I made a mental note of this. We are going to focus more on Jared's mustache going forward. I think after I get back from the surgery. Your stash, if you're watching on YouTube right now, subscribe. If you're not, like my buddy Bill Rubino, who I had breakfast with today, who just listens. Rubino, go on YouTube. Look at that beautiful mustache of evil Jared. That mustache is not even your finest mustache in all the years I've known you.
I actually was watching that Josh Hawley clip thinking, is that what my mustache looks like? This guy who's like over the shoulder of
there are several
Hawley?
Democrats on that committee who should be
Is that me?
Oh, no, that's a 1970s porn stash. That guy
It's not even all full. Is that what I look like? This guy with the glasses? That's terrifying.
That guy, that mustache is more of like a Tom Selleck meets a Ron Jeremy, like, Boogie Nights kind of mustache.
I mean, the 70s glasses isn't helping him either.
No, nor is the 70s tie and the whole 70s look. It literally looks like they transported somebody from the 70s with pandemic experience.
That's some guy from Kissinger's staff who's been transported in time, who's chilling in.
Like, we can't figure out where the virus came from, but the good news is we do have a time machine, and we brought this gentleman here from 1973. So, there's that.
Thank you. That makes me feel better, because honestly,
you've got what we call a Class A stash, a Class A mustache. It's one of the finest stashes we've ever seen. Oh, there's somebody at my house, and that somebody probably is my delivery of the new earpiece that my dog ate. Yep. Yeah, it's Amazon. All right, we'll get it after the show. No point in getting it now. At least I got it. All right. So from Bill Melugin's not sense of humor. No, I'm kidding. Melugin actually is a very funny guy. He's a good reporter. He's a really solid reporter. I think that we said we didn't know if he was joking or not. What he meant by that was sarcasm. Like, of course, that senator was being sarcastic. Democrats just don't have a good sense of humor, because if they did, they would have went to that hearing today, like I said, and tried to blame Trump for all of this. And then they would have also used the opportunity to attack Trump's own CIA for not being more cooperative. This is how stupid these people are. They had a golden opportunity here, golden opportunity to sit there and blame Trump's CIA for stonewalling his own political party. How do I know that? Because Rand Paul and the CIA apparently now, a big back and forth, the agency not happy that they had this CIA whistleblower before Senator Rand Paul's committee hearing.
And I want to give you a little color that we're getting from the CIA just now. They are not happy with the way this hearing is going down. They are accusing Senator Rand Paul and the Senate Homeland Security Committee of, quote, acting in bad faith in putting this hearing together. They say this witness in there isn't a whistleblower. They say he hasn't sought any whistleblower protections. They said he's in that room right now because the committee subpoenaed him, compelled him to come in and testify. And the CIA says they weren't given a heads up about this. The committee didn't go through the proper channels. emails, and they provided Fox News a statement. It says in part, quote, "The committee acted in bad faith by subpoenaing an agency officer for testimony today without notifying CIA, despite having already obtained closed-door testimony from the individual previously. The witness testifying today is not appearing as a whistleblower in pursuit of the truth, but instead in response to the subpoena issued by Chairman Paul. This proceeding amounts to nothing more than a dishonest political theater masquerading as a congressional hearing. As the CIA has already assessed, COVID-19 most likely originated from a lab leak, and efforts to undermine that conclusion are disingenuous." Well, Harris, as Senator Rand Paul was walking into that hearing room this morning, again, he chairs this committee. I told him about that CIA statement and told him they're accusing him of operating in bad faith. I asked him to respond to that. Here's what he said. The CIA says the committee acted in bad faith with this hearing. They just sent out a statement. Your response to that?
You know, I think transparency is good. I think we overclassify everything. Congress passed a law to unanimously declassify all of the COVID information. We all want to know the truth. Where did it come from? Why has it taken so long for people to admit to it? Now almost every agency admits that it did come from the lab, but they still haven't been forthcoming. There's no reason to have secrets on this. We want them to obey the law. The CIA needs to obey the law, and they need to reveal the information.
Okay, let's understand a couple things here about this. First of all, Democrats had an opportunity to make fun of and to go after the Republicans for the fact that the CIA is saying all this. Number two, I'm very disappointed in Radcliffe for saying these things, but I'm not surprised. You know, one of the things we've learned over the years is that despite the best efforts, somehow the deep state still finds its way into the inner circle, into the inner sanctum, whether it's Pam Bondi or whether it's Bill Barr. You know why? These people have been in government long before Donald Trump. They'll be in government long after Donald Trump. And then they go on to get lucrative contracts with all kinds of different companies. This is all about money, whether it's gain of function research, whether it's about getting a $1 million contract to be a consultant on a board for a pharmaceutical company, a defense contractor, whatever it is. But in order for that to continue, nothing can ever truly change. You want to know why no one's going to go to jail? You want to know why you're frustrated? You're frustrated because you know and I know that people are still going to get rich off of the swamp, and nothing is going to change anytime soon because that's how the game is set up. And so if you go in there and you spill all the secrets and you let it all out and you find out this connection between NIH and Big Pharma, and you find out this connection between the FDA and Big Pharma and the CIA and the war complex and the defense contractors and everybody else, well, you're not getting a ticket to the board. You're not going to be in the boardroom where you got to show up 3 times a year and get, you know, anywhere from couple $100,000 to a couple $1 million just to have your name on the letterhead. Or you're not going to get the lobbying contract. You're certainly not going to get invited to the UFC fight at the White House. That's for sure. I mean, it stinks. I don't know what to tell you other than the fact that it's frustrating. It is the biggest source of frustration. Josh Hawley actually made this point today. You know, it's like, can we have Senator Ron Johnson, who made this great point, you know, maybe what we need is similar to what they did in the 1970s. In the 1970s, they had the Church Commission. The warning from Senator Church back then about the power of the FBI to spy on the American people, to evade the Constitution and our civil liberties was a great warning, and that was in the 1970s. And I mean, you know, that's like warning about how the hooker may give you a cold. It's like she might. And maybe other things too. You know, maybe the cold is the least of your worries in terms of contagious viruses. But Church's warning in the 1970s about the power of the government to spy on its own people, Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, who's very upset, and he should be, about the lies that are still to this day being told and still the cover-up today. We need a church-like commission to get to the bottom of all this crap with the deep state cut 9.
There was It appeared to be bureaucratic slow rolling until the government shutdown happened.
Well, that is the technique they use.
Yes.
I mean, they look at every administration or every director of CIA, and if they don't agree with them, this too shall pass, right? They just wait them out. I mean, that's happening right now in both of our investigations. So, again, I am calling for a church-like commission. We'll call it the Paul Johnson Commission, okay? We need to figure out who runs the deep state. But in my final 3 minutes, because I held what I thought was a blockbuster hearing 2 weeks ago.
It was very good.
A church-like commission, and we played you the clip of him with Kayleigh McEnany talking about the COVID injection. And it was a good hearing by Senator Johnson. It was. And there's a lot of things going on. I mean, like today, the House Judiciary Committee they're doing a hearing on Sharia law. We'll get into that tomorrow. Today, I want to focus on this. I want to really do a deep dive on this today. You know, one of the beauties of this show is that I'm not. When stuff like this happens, it is so passionate to me. It gets my heart going, which is not a good thing necessarily till I have my surgery. But my heart is going really, really fast today. Like my blood pressure gets up when I hear this crap because it's like meet the new boss, same as the old boss. I don't mean the president. I mean the people in charge of these agencies. It's almost like the president is a figurehead. Really, whoever it is, the president is like a figurehead, and the cabinet secretaries are figureheads, and the agency directors are figureheads, because the government is truly run by bureaucrats. They're in charge, and they laugh. They do. They laugh. They crack up when they hear people come in and say, we're going to clean up the swamp and drain the swamp and all the other stuff. I mean, they laugh. They chuckle. Like, you're not going to touch us. Stop it. We've been here longer than you. We'll be here longer than you. And then we're going to leave this place and go make a lot more money than you. That's the bottom line. That's how these people think. That's what they do. And, you wonder, where the hell's the media? Like, where's the media? Why isn't the media interested in figuring all this out? I mean, to go back to the 1970s, you think of Woodward and Bernstein going after the Nixon administration. Although I got to tell you, ever since I heard Bill Murray on Joe Rogan's podcast talking about the book that Bob Woodward wrote on John Belushi called Wired, and saying how he got it so wrong about his friend, he said, I have to rethink everything about Nixon now because of how wrong Bob Woodward got it about my friend. If he was that wrong about my friend, how wrong was he about Nixon? But let's go to the 70s. Let's go to the idea that every journalist one day wants to be Woodward and Bernstein and uncover these government scandals and shine lights on the deep corners of what's happening in the parking garages and everything like this, and with the whistleblowers and the deep throats and everything else. And okay, great. Why not start with this? Why not start with this massive cover-up of a global pandemic, of the origins, of the fact that the government knew the vaccine would not stop transmission, but lied about it anyway and said that it would, about the fact that they knew masks didn't work, but they told us we had to wear them. At one point, they told us not to wear them because they were worried about the supply of them, and they said they wouldn't work anyway. Then suddenly it was a requirement to wear one. The 6 feet rule just being pulled out of his ass. I mean, literally, like Fauci pulled that out, just made it up. You know what I mean? So like that, find out, look into all that stuff. The World Health Organization covering up for China. The board. You know why? I'll tell you why. Money. If you've learned one thing from this show today, it is that my hair is real. Jared's mustache is real, and everything is about money. Everything. Don't kid yourself. I'm a big believer in karma. I am. I really am. I really am. Like, there's certain rules in life I believe in. I very, very much believe it. Diner waitresses, waiters, servers, whatever, you always overtip them. I believe that in life. That's one of my core principles in life. I mean, I'm serious about that. Like, I had a great breakfast today. Wait, servers well. Tip them well. It's a good thing in life. Be loyal to your people. Be good to your people, right? Good to your people. And also, as far as karma goes, remember something. Eventually, the truth will come out on everything. So this is what I tell my kids all the time, too. Like, eventually, the truth's going to come out. So, you could be honest with me now, or you can get in more trouble for lying down the road. Like, the truth will come out. But unfortunately, in life today, the truth is not coming out because the media was bought out by big corporations who make money by showing their crappy TV and movies in China. That's the truth. And so ABC, which is the parent company of ABC News, or actually Disney is the parent company of ABC, and China is the parent company of that. So it goes ABC, Disney, China is the official company name. They're more concerned with the fear that China won't show their crappy movies and TV shows than they are about uncovering the truth about COVID-19. They're more worried about that. They're more worried about, the same NBC is Comcast, Universal. Could you imagine if China would not show Wicked for Good, or whatever company made The Devil Wears Prada 2, which they should be sentenced to death. Imagine the company like Paramount, for example, great example. We got another copyright yesterday, nonsense, because I played a clip of Stephen Colbert. So Paramount has no interest in doing anything to try to get journalism out there in any way, shape, or form. They want to control their content and make as much money off of it as possible. So now we have to do a copyright appeal to Paramount Global because I played a stupid clip of Stephen Colbert to make the point that he's full of crap because he had President Trump on as a political candidate. So we'll have to file an official appeal with Paramount Global because we played a clip and argue that it's in the public interest to hear how this host who hates this man at one point was saying he liked this man and how that is a change in the media ecosystem since Donald Trump became president. The fact that we have to do that is just ridiculous, but let's be honest, it shows the point. They want to make money. That's CBS News. That's the CBS News division. So 60 Minutes gets flagged. We play a 60 Minutes clip, that gets flagged. You know what I mean? They're all in it to make money. And that means then that if they have to cover for China, they will cover for China. Do not kid yourself. These people are not interested in becoming the next Woodward and Bernstein. What they want is what Bob Woodward now has, which is a lucrative contract with, I don't know, MS Now or NBC News or whatever to go on and bash Donald Trump. That's what they all really want. They don't really want to expose things in government, and they know they're not going to anyway. They don't have the resources, they don't have the staff, and they don't have people at the top of the food chain who want to irritate one of their biggest clients and customers. They want to build theme parks over there. That's what they want to do. They want to build the next Universal Beijing to match the Disney Beijing, or wherever the hell Disney's building their next thing. Why do you think we have such little coverage about the human rights treatment of the Uyghurs in China? Why do you think? I mean, they bust this mayor, this Fang of Arcadia, California, for spreading Chinese propaganda. It's like, name me, I'm glad they got her, but name me a media company that doesn't just spread Chinese propaganda all day in and day out. You're never going to get the truth on this stuff. As Ron Johnson points out, cut 8.
I need the mainstream media, CBS, ABC, CNN, to step forward and start covering what is a major scandal. How many thousands, tens, hundreds of thousands of people are permanently disabled or possibly lost their life because our FDA hid the fact that there were safety signals screaming at them with the COVID injection.
You're not going to get that, sir. I mean, I applaud you for asking. And that is the Big Stir of the Hour, brought to you by Dr. Mike Veneria, Veneria Dental. Go see him today for your perfect smile. He's a great guy. He's a great friend. He's my dentist, and he will give you the smile of your dreams because you deserve a beautiful smile. We all deserve a great smile in life. Smiles light up the room, and they tell everybody who you are. So make sure yours is beautiful and go see him today, veneriadental.com. You're never going to get the truth from these people. That's just the reality. They're way more interested in making money. Let me also tell you about my friends at Emmons Roofing and Siding, because this is the time of year now for you to start thinking about those spring repairs and to get your home more beautiful for all the entertaining you're going to do this summer. What about a kitchen and bathroom remodel? You know, the interior remodeling division of Emmons is outstanding. I think that they are, and I know from experience, they are detail-oriented, and they will do a great job for you. We just had the kids' bathroom remodeled. Things that I never thought of, you know, what kind of fixtures to use, tile the thing, all those other things. That's what Emmons helps with. And then the result is beautiful. But let's say you need a new roof, and they will never tell you you need a new roof unless you absolutely do. But if you do, you will get a lifetime warranty with the Owens Corning shingle, the best in the business, period. So I want you to reach out to Emmons today. All right. Will you do that for me? And their products are made in America. Windows, doors, siding, all made in the United States of America. The Owens Corning shingle, made in Kearney, New Jersey. And you'll get a lifetime warranty on not just the materials, but the workmanship as well. Just go to emmonsroofing.com, EMMONS, emmonsroofing.com, and you tell them I sent you. So let's dig into some of the meat today from the hearing itself. With cut number 5 to start us off, CIA whistleblower confirming under oath that Dr. Anthony Fauci injected himself into the intelligence community. Take a listen.
She approved the research that went on in Wuhan, and that it might not be in his interest for the conclusion to be that it came from a lab that he had funded, that there might be a conflict. Did anybody ever bring up that he might not be an objective witness?
That was one example of an email. No one laid it out quite that clearly. You're piecing it together. We were piecing it together from multiple emails, from multiple agencies, multiple documents. It was more subtle than that. Nobody said this is happening, and unfortunately, I think they probably should have. It was all out there.
But your conclusion is that changing from the scientific consensus of it being from a lab to a neutral position by the CIA was significantly influenced by Anthony Fauci?
It was significantly influenced by Anthony Fauci's injecting himself into the IC. And to go to the second part of your question about what happened, particularly during the 90-day study, we have documentation that shows that as of August 12th, the CIA was considering calling this a lab leak, August 12th of 2021. And then that changed on August 17th of 2021. Right. And unfortunately, because the CIA would not provide us documentation that we asked for, we have no idea why that changed. And that's...
And they weren't alone, because we know the FBI was coming to the same conclusion that it was lab leak, as well as the FBI.
Yeah. Let's understand why we couldn't tell you it was a lab leak back then. Let's understand. Money! Because all these people who are funding the gain-of-function research will wind up going to work for Big Pharma one day as consultants, and they'll go on there to be on their boards and everything else. Just like I told you, when Big Pharma wants the gain-of-function research to keep going, that's why. And yeah, we paid for COVID. We created it. We helped pay for the creation of COVID-19. And then we had to lie and cover it up because there are too many powerful people in Washington having steak dinners and drinking fine wine on your dime when we're going to make money off that. Hey, you know what? I've said this before and I'll say it again. If you want to watch a great documentary, it's a show, it's a docudrama, and it's on Hulu, and it's called Dope Sick, and it's all about Purdue Pharma and OxyContin and oxycodone and the whole thing, and how Michael Keaton's in it. It's a great cast, really great cast. But the whole point is it's the revolving door between the FDA and then Big Pharma. So these guys approve the painkillers and they sign off on everything because they want to go work for them one day. You're a bureaucrat, you're making, I don't know, at the time, maybe $150. Yeah, that's good money, but you can make hundreds of thousands of dollars more. Hell, if you're an FDA official, if you're a deputy director of this or you're this, you can make hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you're a senior level person, you're talking about making millions of dollars. You don't want to rock that boat, okay? You don't want to rock that boat. But at the same time, we can't admit to the American people like we created COVID. We made COVID, so we got to tell everybody this was a guy who went over for lunch and ordered an undercooked bat burger with a side of penguin fries and a raccoon dog aioli. And then we got to double down on that and defend that and argue that. And then we got to hide all this. And this is why people need to go to prison, because they purposely tried to get around to evade the Freedom of Information Act laws. And they tried to purposely evade all of the record keeping by using their personal email. And they all knew what they were doing because they didn't want to have to admit that they paid for this virus. And then they lied to you about it. And they kept lying about it. And then again, we to this day don't know what's in that laboratory. I heard Senator Rand Paul talk about this. That lab in Wuhan, China, this BSL level 2, and even at BSL level 4s, biosafety level 4 labs, accidents still happen. Viruses still get out accidentally, although I think this was 100% intentional by China. I've always said that. I will always believe that. Until I'm proven otherwise, I will believe that. I will always believe that this did not leak out of a lab. I believe it was intentionally released in the fall of 2019 when the military world games were going on, where in Wuhan, China, and the United States military, along with other countries' militaries, was in Wuhan, China. and then people just happen to get sick. You know what I mean? So yeah, until I have the right to believe anything until I am given all of the evidence, and I will never get all the evidence because we've still to this day have not set foot in that lab to inspect it. So we don't know what else is in the fridge. You know, besides some guys like 3-day-old turkey meatloaf, we have no idea what else is in that fridge. Senator Rand Paul slammed the Biden administration for the cover-up of the fact that COVID came from the lab. Cut 7.
According to his testimony, CIA scientific analysts concluded multiple times between 2021 and 2023 that a lab leak was the most likely origin of COVID-19. Yet those conclusions never shaped the official narrative, never made the intelligence report. Congress was never told. It was not until after the 2024 election that the outgoing Biden administration directed the CIA to issue an assessment, not because of new intelligence, but so officials could walk out of the door claiming there was nothing left to find. That is not analysis, that is a cleanup operation.
And there were agencies within the intelligence community circulating papers and CIA scientists concluding that well, you take a listen. Go ahead.
Is it your testimony that there is still resistance from the CIA to comply with the law we passed to declassify all the COVID information?
Yes.
One of the things that I think is new today that I'm hearing from your testimony is that from an early period of time, you believe, and the information you're aware of, is that CIA scientists from an early time after the pandemic began, 2020, 2021, were concluding that the lab leak was the most likely hypothesis?
Yes, Senator. I'd like to offer some qualifications on that as well. A lot of the issues occurred at the interagency space, at the National Intelligence Council, the individuals responsible for conducting or writing WMD analysis. So, and many of those individuals are on JDA from the CIA. But yes, very early, as early as 2020, there were agencies within the IC circulating papers that that said, hey, there's, for example, DOE circulated a paper in May of 2020 that said that all the conditions were present for a lab leak. And I could go through the timeline, but yes, my short answer is yes, periodically throughout 2020 all the way to 2024. Yes.
I think the arguments, pro and con for what is the evidence on whether this came from a lab or came from nature are still important. So for years, we've been asking the CIA to produce the scientists, either in a classified setting or a public setting, to discuss the arguments. I don't see any reason why the arguments should be classified. One of the arguments that's made publicly is that the source looks like it came from a single source of RNA, not like 5 different types of viruses or 20 different types like you had with SARS 2003, but it came from one source. And virtually everybody argues that sort of indicates a lab and not a nature. And so those arguments are important scientific arguments to have, but we've been prevented from having them. We've been preventing from getting all of the declassified information. But what I think is of importance that's new today is that your testimony is that the CIA scientists were concluding that it was lab, but then when this, there was a 90-day study in 2021, and this study was done by NIC, led by NIC. Tell us what NIC is again.
It's the National Intelligence Council, and individuals responsible for writing various WMD and bio-related issues led that.
So when they had this study, they had CIA scientists telling them, look, the evidence, the scientific evidence looks like it came from the lab, but then they brought in Anthony Fauci. And is it your opinion that Anthony Fauci was able to overrule the scientist or get NIC to conclude somehow that there wasn't a conclusion to be had here, we're going to be neutral, contradicting what the scientists were telling them?
So there's 2 questions there, and I want to break them up into 2. One is, where were the injection points, Dr. Anthony Fauci? Where did Dr. Anthony Fauci and when did he inject himself into the IC? And the other half of that question, if I'm, and I don't want to extrapolate too much here, is, okay, what happened with why was there a change in analysis?
This is your government. This is your government not being honest with you. This is your government lying to you. This is your government. We're supposed to be a government of the people. It's supposed to be our government. Like, we're supposed to be in charge. We the people. We're supposed to be 250 years. We're supposed to be our government. We're supposed to be in charge. And yet these people continue to lie and they continue to obfuscate. And it's been going on for years. And the consequences of that is, we don't know what we don't know. We don't know about hantavirus or this virus or the other thing. And we don't know because they continue to cover up even things like, as Senator Ron Johnson said, the mRNA viruses, the vaccines, all of it still to this day, there's cover-ups around it. And of course there's going to be cover-ups around it because there's money, lots and lots of money. Cut 10.
A new state-of-the-art algorithm, developed by the inventor of the original algorithm, was presented to senior FDA officials, showing 49 cases of extreme masking, 25 safety signals, including sudden cardiac death, pulmonary infarction, Bell's palsy, different types of strokes. Month after month after month, they continue to do this data mining. They continue to show additional safety signals. Did Peter Marks, did Anthony Fauci, did President Biden go to the American public and say, hang on here, we've got some data, we've got some concerns? No. They blamed the unvaccinated for continuing the pandemic. This is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. We need to mandate this. This is what government does. This is what the deep state does. I can't explain it all. My investigation now, because I finally got documents. We need to get to the bottom of this, and right now I'm just using this moment. I need the mainstream media, CBS, ABC, CNN, to step forward.
All right, so we got into that a little bit earlier, but I think the important part was the first part of that for you to hear, and I'm glad you did. It's also like, how many steps a day do you need? It's little things, little lies too. It's not just the big lies, it's the little lies. Like, how many steps? 10,000. Nope, not 10,000. You know why they said 10,000? That was done to sell pedometers. Yeah. 8,500 steps a day is what you need. That's the new finding, the data. They wanted, in order for people to make money, they were like, hey, we got this thing here, it manages how many steps you take. So we got to come up with a number. It's easy to remember. And we got to make it big enough so people can't count it themselves. And we got to make it so that you really need a device to do it. So let's come up with 10,000. And they were like, okay, 10,000 it is. 10,000 steps. Not 10,000 steps, Jared. Not even close.
So I knew this one in advance of that story. And that, by the way,
big pedometer?
Big ped, yeah.
Big ped.
But do you know this one? Calories. How many calories a day do you need to maintain your weight?
I'm told 2,000.
First of all, it depends on how friggin' big you started. If it's like, like you might not have the same caloric requirement that somebody else does, right? Like Andre the Giant was not 2,000 calories a day compared to other people. So like they just want a round number, and the calories is about 1,850 or so for a normal sized, adult male. And they're like, nobody's going to remember 1,850. Call it 2,000? We all good with that? Yeah. Okay. 2,000 it is. Same thing.
That's how they did it.
They want a round number, babe. There's no reason. Why would it be 10,000 steps a day? Why would it be a round number?
And you know how many people, when they don't hit their 10,000, beat themselves up? They're like, I only got to 8,752 steps today. And they'll hammer the hell out of themselves over that. And they're like, I didn't get to my 10,000. You don't need to get to 10,000. That's just a round number. They made that up.
So I am kind of one of those people. Like if I'm at 9 something, I'm like, yeah, it's fine. But if I was at 8,500, like I'll go on a walk at 9 o'clock at night or whatever. But it's the same with all those Fitbits and stuff. You know who should not have a Fitbit? People that obsess about things like Fitbit. If you can't not have your number, or if you're competitive with your spouse and you're like, I got to beat whatever. If you're that kind of person, you shouldn't have it. You don't need it. Just be more active. You should
not have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree, but if you're like, well, you only need 8,500 steps a day, people will be like, well, I don't know, 10,000. Oh, that's an achievable goal. I can get to 10,000. I can do that, but I got to get a pedometer so I can keep track of my steps. Yep. So big pedometer steps in, and they're like, hey, now you can even wear it on your ring. And don't worry, even though this thing's made in China, all your health data is nice and confidential. Don't worry. We wouldn't share any with them.
No, why would they?
God, I can't wait to fix my friggin' earpiece.
Amazon.
So excited the Amazon guy came.
I know.
Speaking of made in China.
Earpiece?
Tommy McDonald offered to drop me off one yesterday. I was like, don't worry about it. Order from Amazon. It'll be here in 5 minutes.
So you don't think it's listening? The earpiece?
Well, I think it's analog, not digital.
Okay. All right. You better hope so.
But don't you love that on your iPhone, you have a health app, okay? I'm wearing a ring. Well, it's not an Oura ring. It's the cheaper version. It's the lesser version. It's called Ring-Con.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's called, it's a Bobby ring. Yeah, it tells you how you're doing. Yeah.
It's a Aurora, right? It's the Aurora ring. We sell the Aurora.
It gives you 3 things. It goes, you look at, how's my health? It goes, yeah, it's good. That's it. That's the whole function. I just sleep. Not bad. That's it. That's what it's
pretty good. Pretty good. Just feel pretty good.
Actually, I think if we made that product, it would probably sell really well.
If you could do the voices and like add that into your Aura, it's like, last night's sleep was pretty good. Yeah, we did all right.
Yeah, not too bad. Not for nothing. Right. Too bad.
Hey, they got my steps today. I said, you're taking care of yourself. You're doing all right.
I think you look good. You look good. Yeah. I mean, AI does that. AI kisses up to you all the time. Yeah. We'll make a health Fitbit device that, it's like, did I eat too much at lunch? A little bit. Yeah. A little easy on the carbs next time. It's all right. Don't beat yourself up. People would love it.
It's like inspirational. Hey, there's always tomorrow. We can do better tomorrow. That's fine. We're good.
And then we could have it with different versions. Like you put the Navy SEAL version on, you turn it into like the Jack Carr version, and it's like, get off your ass, go for a walk.
That's the one I need.
Out.
That's what I need.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need the no excuses voice.
Yeah. Don't go near those potatoes. Didn't they I don't know if they still make those things, but did they have those things where you open the fridge and there used to be like a piggy that would make like an oink sound if the fridge opened to try to. I
don't remember that.
Yeah. I feel like that was a thing for a while.
My TomTom used to have voices, and I paid. Remember TomToms, like the little, like the first GPS.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And like went in the car. I paid for Mr. T. It was like $30, and it was the most annoying thing. It was like, turn left, fool. Turn right, fool. And I was like, oh, this was funny for 2 seconds, and now I paid $30 for this experience. It's not worth it.
You know what's down this road? Pain.
But it was just 5 things. He just called me fool all the time. I didn't love it. But I didn't have one on my fridge.
You go down this road, it's a dead end, fool. Yep. And all your experience is pain. Here's my prediction for you. Pain. I got it. All right, got it.
Actually,
thank you.
I do think his merge was, I predict you're going to merge into traffic, fool. I was like, okay. It's very good.
All right, well, since we're on the subject of cars, let's talk about Tri-County Auto, shall we? Tri-County Auto, tricounty.com. It is the great time right now for you to get to a great deal at Tri-County. Take advantage of special savings across their lineup, like a new 2026 Toyota Tacoma with 2.99% APR financing, and ask about their veteran specials. They love their veterans. That's why they donated a Jeep to the Travis Manning Foundation, because they love our veterans and they take great care of them. If you're ready for your next Jeep, step into a new 2026 Jeep Wrangler with legendary capability, now leasing for just $392 a month during the Declaration of Deals sales event. They have over 25 Jeep Grand Cherokees packed full of savings and features, and you'll love the safety features. And if you want to go Toyota like we just did, you'll have a Toyota most likely made right here in the United States of America, because Toyota made a massive investment in America. Tri-County Auto is easy to get to from wherever you are. Limerick, King of Prussia, Philly, Jersey, the main line, wherever, and worth the trip. I don't want to get hassled. I don't want the high pressure, and you won't get any of that. You'll just get great people who will take great care of you with unbelievable deals. So go to tricounty.com, tricounty.com to see all the great specials from my great friends and our official car sponsor of the show and the podcast, Tri-County Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, and Tri-County Toyota, tricounty.com. Let me show you something else too while we're doing this. What about this idea that bad weather could be good for you? Again, in all the lies that were told, I was told that bad weather was bad for my mental health. But what if that was also something that was just said by maybe big television? So you stayed inside all day when it was rainy and cloudy out. Bad weather could be good for your mental health. Rainy days and thunderstorms save this leading psychologist from depression and could be a surprising boost for all of this. Now, personally, I'm calling BS on this story because I don't believe it. I'm happier in a better mood when I'm sunny out. But then again, I got to be honest with you, when it's really humid out, I get a little cranky. I do. Humidity makes me cranky. I'm not a big fan of the humidity, Jared. You know what it is? I don't know what it is. I'm just saying. That's just me.
It's frizzy hair. Yeah, I got you.
It's my frizzy toupee. It's what happens. The wig goes poof like that.
I bet. Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
This woman, this mental health person said that seasonal affective disorder, which is something that starts in July for her, which is sunny when you got lots of sunshine. But bad weather, rain, hail, wind, and snow can be good for all of us, improving everything from cognition and immunity to our cardiovascular system and optimism levels. Discovering all this led her to write a book on the subject, so maybe she's just in it for money and maybe she's full of crap too. I don't know. But as a professor of psychology for 30 years, she's learned a few things. That rain is an all-around health booster for stress levels. That's because it has a predictable sound pattern close to what scientists call pink noise, which is like white noise, but has a subtle, less hissy noise. Pink noise helps us to relax and promotes healthy sleep. Rain also can elevate our immunity. When raindrops hit dry soil, they form bubbles that carry chemicals from the soil into the air, as well as a fresh, calming fragrance. These chemicals, most notably a compound called geosmin, boost the immune system, reduce inflammation, and increase levels of the happy hormone known as serotonin. Yeah, and the power of storms, thunderstorms, which she finds exhilarating. It turns out that in thunderstorms, positive ions migrate to the top of the cloud, negative ions accumulate at the base. These are then attracted to the positively charged ground, which results in lightning. Lightning generates more ions, which are further attracted to the ground, leading to a temporary accumulation of negative ions near the surface. What does that mean for you? Well, negative ions may kill mold, bacteria, and viruses in the air, and remove particle matter, which are tiny little particles such as dust, smoke, and soot, which helps with your allergies. They may even help with post-operative pain. Research shows perhaps by reducing stress and inflammation, a thunderstorm could be good for you. One study included in the International Journal of Molecular Sciences in 2018 found negative ions also improve the function of the nervous, cardiovascular, and respiratory systems by reducing inflammation through removing pollutants and allergens. As far as mental health, turns out thunderstorms may actually help with increasing your serotonin levels and help you feel more relaxed and anxious and less anxious, which is crazy because you would think the opposite, especially if you have a dog. Dogs go freaking nuts when there's thunderstorms and lightning. But it turns out that psychotherapists call a reframing of things. If you just were to change your thinking on this, you would actually realize that these storms can help you feel better. Similar to thunder, snow also increases air concentration of negative ions in the air close to the ground, thanks to friction between snow's ice crystals, and therefore has positive impacts on depression and more. Which is why people who live in states that get a lot of snow tend to be very, very happy people. In fact, I believe I read that the state with the number one happiness was not Florida, although economically maybe, but Utah. Happiest state in America and also gets a lot of sunshine. Colorado too. A lot of sunshine, a lot of happiness. Jared, you're a big skier. You like the snow. You like being out there, right?
Well, I understand why not Florida, because those people are all there just waiting to die. So it makes sense that they're not like higher on the list. But I don't see a lot of happy Minnesotans, Wisconsin, North Dakota. I think I enjoy a good rainstorm. The most ludicrous thing from that you read was my seasonal affective disorder starts in July. Like, no, it doesn't. Seasonal affective disorder starts the minute it's dark at 3 p.m. Right. Like whatever that BS is. Right. That's when it starts. Like that's when the driving home to work and home from work in the pitch black, seasonal affective disorder. The book is called
Head in the Clouds. Head in the Clouds by Professor Trevor Harley. I thought it was a woman. It's a guy. If you'd like to order a copy of Head in the Clouds and learn why bad weather is good for you, go ahead. I'm going to call this book a fugazi.
It's fugazi. I like a good rainstorm.
Fugazi, right?
But there's a reason no one in Seattle is happy, because like a rainstorm is one thing, perpetual rain not a thing.
So then I'll bring it home for everybody. Ready to go back to the start of the show with Rand Paul, Ron Johnson, Fauci, all of it? Vitamin D. We were told early on that COVID can't spread outdoors, and I knew that. I said that you can't get COVID outside. You can't. And there's a lot of evidence about vitamin D levels. And then they talked about this early on. They said, increase your vitamin D levels. So I actually think that it's all about the sunshine. And that's why I think daylight savings time is annoying, because you wind up getting these very, very early dark days. I think vitamin D plays a critical role in all of this. No question about it. In your health, vitamin D. I'm sticking with that.
I did a deep dive on why we won't get rid of daylight savings time. It's basically...
Yeah, I was going to say, we're not going to get rid of daylight, right?
I mean...
Pelosi would love that. Like Nancy Pelosi would be...
She could walk
she's
around
been lobbying
24/7.
for that for years.
Yeah,
like
It's like a third of voters think it's fine. A third of voters want to go to standard time, and a third of voters would want to go, I guess, to savings time all the time. And that's the dispute. Is that if we could agree, if we could get our 66% of which way, forward or back, that's the part where people can't agree on it.
Can't we split the difference and do it by a half hour?
So I have heard that, well, we can't because time zones and planes. India has half-hour time zones. Let's do that. Half-hour time zones. China has one time zone. They should have 3. They just said, no, we're China.
I'd be fine with
that.
Deal
with it. Just boom.
I'd be totally fine with that.
Yep. How about this? I don't care which way they go. Just pick one.
Pick one and just go with it, right?
Be done. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to adjust my clocks. I know most of them are automatic. It doesn't matter. I don't want to wake up one day and it's suddenly dark. That is the weirdest.
Yeah.
Disagree.
What do we think? We should ask Jeeves what Jeeves thinks. Oh, we can't. It's gone. I got to be honest with you. So Ask Jeeves officially shut down like a day or two ago. I had no idea it was even still a thing. I remember it in the late 90s, early aughts before Google took over. I just assumed the only search engine around was Google and, well, DuckDuckGo if you wanted to hide your pornography. But I mean, I didn't even think there was a thing. This was the thing.
I had Jeeves was revolutionary to the kids that don't know. Like Jeeves, it was Yahoo and it was BS, and Ask Jeeves came around. It was like life-changing.
Why?
So this is what it used to be, that searches were additional. Okay, so if I searched Rich Zeoli, it would return not words with Rich and Zeoli or pages with Rich and Zeoli. It would give me first Rich Lowry, Rich Thompson, Rich whatever, like who was more popular, but the Zeoli didn't kick out pages. And Ask Jeeves started to do that, but Google really honed in on that. That if I say search Rich Zeoli, I don't want you to also search other things. And Ask Jeeves was really good with that too. Like if you put words in, you only got those words. It's huge.
Wow. And it's gone. I would ask it, but it's gone. So I don't know.
The glory of the world fades, my friend. Nothing's forever.
So is it basically just Google right now and DuckDuckGo?
Yeah, I mean, technically Yahoo's still around. Bing, I
Yahoo
guess.
is still around?
Yeah, technically. It's like always third on the list. Do you know what the number 2 search engine is right now in the world?
No.
Actually, in America. TikTok.
Really?
Wow. Depending on how you look, but it's Google, YouTube, TikTok, or Google, TikTok, YouTube. Yeah.
Wow. I'll tell you one thing. I think you can come to this show for answers. So I would highly recommend you subscribe because you probably will learn more on this show than you will learn anywhere else. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and make sure you follow the show. So if you get it on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, by the way, we had a little hiccup. It'll be fixed. So if you had a problem getting the episodes, don't worry. We're all over it. Still just growing and learning and figuring it all out. But we have to hit 2,000 subscribers by Friday, or I won't survive my surgery on Monday for my open heart surgery. So
no pressure.
No pressure on you or anything like that. No pressure. But if you want to save my life, you'll do your part to get us more subscribers. Like Susie Cool did yesterday by posting something. And thank you to Susie for doing that as well. So it's on you, Zeoli Army. Let's go. Let's make this happen. All right. Thank you for listening. Enjoy the rest of your day and go ask Jeeves.
Let's go.